Right, grade 8, so we're going to be looking at how to graphically represent gears. So there's a few things that you need to have before you're able to graphically represent a gear. And firstly, you need the relationship, either the velocity ratio or the gear ratio. Right, so let's say for argument's sake, we have a gear ratio of 1:2. Okay, so we know that it is 1:2. Now we have to represent this ratio graphically. Now there's a few ways we can do this. All right. If we don't know the diameter of the gears, we have to give them a diameter. Or the same goes for if it's a number of teeth. But when you graphically represent gears, we're not going to look at the number of teeth. We're wanting to see what the diameter of the gears are. So this means every time gear number 1 turns, gear number 2 will turn twice. So therefore we know that gear number 1 is double the size of gear number 2. Okay? And now we have to graphically represent this. We need to make sure that our representation is to scale. Okay? And that it is done accurately. So what you're going to need is you're going to have to use a ruler, right, as well as a compass. Now with regards to the compass, don't do what I'm doing here with the long pencil. You need to use the one that comes with the math set, okay, because it's going to make your life a bit easier, and I'll show you what I mean by that as I start going through this. Alright, so firstly we look at the size of our page. So we can see we have this in landscape, because if I'm going to do it in portrait, I'm probably not going to have enough space. Because when you're working with the compass, if it goes too small, it becomes a lot harder to work with, all right, when it's extremely small. So you need to have it where it's a decent amount or size that it's comfortable for you to work with. Okay, so we know now that we need one gear that is double the size than another gear. And we're going to represent this graphically. All right, just for argument's sake, let's just say that this was 100 teeth, all right, and this was 50 teeth. Okay, so we can add that information, and I'll show you where to add it later. Or they may have said to you, in my case, I'm going to be making this gear 14 centimeters. And this gear I'm going to make it 7 centimeters. And then I'll explain to you how we're going to do this. Alright, so firstly we need to get a ruler. Once we have our ruler, we're going to start with our first gear. So this is gear number 1 that has 100 teeth. And it is 14 centimeters in diameter. So if our gear is 14 centimeters in diameter, that means that we have to measure out the radius. We don't want to measure out 14 centimeters on a ruler, otherwise we're going to be sitting with a really big gear. Okay, so we want to measure out the radius. That would be 7 centimeters. So you're going to obviously put 1 point on 7 and then your sharp pencil tip point on 0. So now we have a 7 centimeter radius. Okay, and then we start drawing our first circle. Okay, and that's what I mean by having the shorter pencil, and it doesn't get in your way and you won't be struggling like I'm struggling now. Okay, so we have the first circle down. Now once you have this, don't move the middle point away. I want you to take it in a little bit, alright? So usually about half a centimeter or so. Don't go too far in. I'll explain this to you just now, but you're going to come in a little bit, alright? And then you're going to draw your second ring, your second circle. Right, now what the second ring represents, will represent where the teeth are going to mesh. Okay, so now we have our first one down. The second one that we're going to do, we know that needs to be twice as small. Okay, so we said that this was 14 centimeters across and it had a radius of 7. So we come back to the ruler again, and in this case we're going to have to go 3.5. Right, and we have that down at 3.5. And once you've got this, what you want to do is you want to start with the pencil tip. So you're going to go pencil tip to the inner circle, alright, so your inner ring of your gear, and then you're going to start drawing your gear system. Sometimes it's easier to move the page, so keep the compass still and then move the page around. I obviously can't do that now because I'm busy recording, alright, but that is an option for you to do. Once you have that, as I said, keep the center point down. Move your pencil in line and then touch it with the outer ring and then complete your gear system. Okay. And this does take a bit of practice. The more you do it, the easier it will become. Alright, so now we've graphically represented our gear system. There's a few things that we can still add. Alright, so that would be using the ruler again with your pencil. Let me just quickly grab this pencil. Okay, and one, you can tell me that it is a diameter of 14 centimeters. I know that this goes against the rule of technology where we always measure millimeters, so you could say 140 millimeters. Okay, and then the second gear would be 7. Okay, so that would be 70 millimeters. Okay, so that's one set of information that we can add to our gear system. The second set of information is we can write in how many teeth the gear has. Okay, and this will give us a representation. So we know that if we say 100 divided by 50, it is 1/2, and that is a gear ratio of 1:2. Okay, so this is the way that we graphically represent a gear. The most important things are it's touching on the inside and on the outside, all right, and that represents the meshing of the gear's teeth. Okay, and then obviously the outer diameter would definitely be 7 centimeters on the second gear, and then 14 from this point over here to this point over here. So this is quite easy marks to get if you ask to graphically represent gears. This here could easily count for 5 to 10 marks, depending on how much I'm requiring from you. So your marks would be set up, obviously, one, using a compass and not just doing it by freehand. 2, that they are to scale. All right, so it is definitely, this gear is double the size of this gear. All right, and then you get marks for it, obviously meshing in the correct places and adding your specifications to your gear system. All right, grade 8s, I hope that this makes sense. If you have any questions, please do ask. But it's just practice, practice, practice. Getting this right, especially here in the middle, is practice. You may be asked to add an idler gear at a later stage. The principle stays the same. Just make sure that you are not messing up where the gears mesh together.